Finally, last year, we started a new tradition of inducting Hempfield graduates into the Comtech Hall of Fame. We want this to be a special honor. Last year's recipient, Mrs. Jessie Long, is in the audience tonight. To be selected for the Hall of Fame, you must be a Hempfield graduate. That's the only requirement, but it comes with the understanding that you have made an impact on our program or on the field of communications and film. What I'm most proud of, however, is the students themselves decide on who is inducted. And this year's class continued to take that responsibility seriously. Junior and senior students in the upper-level Comtech classes 4 through 6 submitted names for nomination. Then only the seniors voted from the list of nominees. Any nominee that gets a vote will automatically be placed on next year's ballot, and this year we have 16 nominees. I want to briefly recognize some of them at this time. From the class of 1998 is Allison Diebold. Allison was one of the first students of what is now Comtech 2, or WHHS. After a year of broadcasting, she graduated from Emory University, and after working for Petrie Media and Disney, she currently serves as the Director of Cross-Platform Insights at CNBC and NBC Universal in New York City. From 2003, Megan Henry Toth was part of our first middle school news program. After a fruitful career at Hempfield, she graduated from Temple and worked as a producer in both Allentown and Philadelphia for 8 years. Recently, she's become the public relations specialist at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. From the class of 2006 is David B. Godin. After he graduated from Hempfield and Franklin and Marshall College, he currently works in New York City, where he directs commercials, international music videos, and other projects, including the award-winning narrative short Seed. From the class of 2010 are 2 nominees. Sam Nolan was always in the studio as a perennial intern since his sophomore year. Sam graduated this month from Clarendon University studying corporate communications. He manages his own video production company, Sunshine Studios, and Sam has accepted a position at Highmark Blue Shield with their social media department. After his graduation in 2010, Chase Pipkin attended an accelerated program at Full Sail University in Florida. From there, he became an intern at WGAL-TV in Lancaster. When his brief internship ended, he became a weekend morning producer, and recently he accepted a new position as producer for Hearst Television Network in their Washington, D.C. bureau. Brittany Jones, who graduated in 2011, was an integral part of our program as we transitioned to a new senior-level curriculum and participation in our national program. She's currently a junior at Penn State University studying advertising and public relations. If you're a Penn State football fan, she's the acting homecoming production director, so all the homecoming videos that you see on the big screen in Beaver Stadium have been produced by her. Would you please take a moment to recognize our first round of nominees? Finally, from the class of 2004 is Julie Gargotta. Please indulge me as I tell you a story, as I remember the first time I met Julie, just about 15 years ago, when she was a fledgling 7th grade student. We had just started a middle school television studio the year before at Centerville, and we needed to figure out where we were going to get the next crew for the new school year. So I sent a letter out to the middle school teachers, those 7th grade teachers, and it was an actual letter back then because some of the teachers didn't understand email at that point. And I received 12 letters back, and half of them listed Julie's name. She was also a science student of mine when she got to 8th grade, so I brought her in early, and she was fantastic. That first year, we had a new pair of students come down every 4 weeks or so, and then we would switch the students in and out as we brought in more and more volunteers. But I always made sure I made up a good reason that Julie could stick around for another shift. And if I remember correctly, and if my records are correct, her 4-week shift turned into a half a year. I was glad to see that she continued taking classes when she got to high school, representing us at the Cable Ace Awards, our district. After graduation, she went to Temple University, and as was always the case with my 8th grade students, we fell out of touch. One night, I was sitting in my apartment, unable to fall asleep, and I'm flipping through the channels. And there on my TV screen is Julie, filing a news report for the Temple football program. I can't describe at that moment how proud I was to see her on television. I had so much adrenaline that night I didn't really sleep. While participating at Temple with the dance team and working for Philly.com and Temple Update, she earned a Bachelor of Arts in Broadcast Journalism with a minor in Spanish. Currently, Julie is a writer for Harrisburg Magazine and Susquehanna Style, but most of you might recognize her as our local traffic reporter and news reporter with WGAL News 8. If you watch News 8, you'll see Julie on the air from about 4:30 a.m. through the morning show. And then you're going to see her again about 30 p.m. through most of the evening show. Did you ever wonder what she did between those two appearances during the day? I can tell you what she did for a while. Most of the time, she was commuting to Philadelphia, earning her Master's of Journalism from Temple, which she earned last year. So Julie, can you please come forward so that we can recognize you tonight? Some of you might know that I do some part-time work for WGAL, and Julie, I can't express how thrilling it is to have a former student of mine tossed to me on the air, even though the station requires you to call me Matt and not Mr. Binder.
I kept trying to say Mr. Binder.
Yes. What's more thrilling, though, is seeing that those personality traits that you possessed as a 7th grader, specifically your poise, confidence, perseverance, it's still a part of your character and it contributes to your success. So on behalf of the CommTech class of 2014, it's my pleasure to announce you as our first graduate inductee into the CommTech Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
So earlier tonight, I recognized some of our graduate nominees for the Hall of Fame, and I don't want to leave out the 8 other recent graduates that remain. With them, I'm going to read some statements from the nomination forms I collected from the juniors and seniors. 3 of the nominations were from the class of 2012. Morgan Bard was the first of 2 students at Hempfield to be in the communications program starting in 7th grade, and then took all 6 high school CommTech classes. She's the first Hempfield student to get national recognition for her live reporting skills. And speaking of keeping it in the family, I still see Morgan showing up in projects being turned in for grades. After 2 years at Temple, Morgan will continue her studies of public relations at Millersville University next year. Jarrett Lehman's currently studying video production at Ohio University, and over winter break this past year, Jarrett was in Ecuador filming a documentary. With Morgan, Jarrett was the 2nd student to take all classes from 7th to 12th. One student remembers Jarrett being an important person in helping them learn Final Cut Pro, as well as the structure of writing stories. Colleen McGettigan was part of the first class that attended a national competition. Not only that, she's the first class of students to take all 6 levels of CommTech and have an internship. She was always an advocate for young children, so it's no surprise to us that she's currently at Temple University studying elementary special education. Finally, 5 students were nominated from last year's class of 2013. Carla Liriano is currently a freshman at Arizona State University Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, studying journalism and mass communication. There she's already secured an internship and a campus press job. Students say that they've been inspired by her for her accomplishments at ASU as she continues to excel within her program. And as a side note, this is an inside CommTech joke. Carla, you spent more on your admission ticket tonight than you will on your education. Ryan Schmucker is attending Millersville University, and students praise his acting talents and his willingness to mentor the younger students in the program when he was a senior. Michael Warren only took 2 CommTech classes, but his face is still familiar around the studio. Students comment he was an excellent editor, the best weather forecaster on WHHS, and he brought in an interactive component to the morning news. He's currently at Millersville University studying electronic control systems technology and has secured internships on 101 The Rose and Blue Ridge Cable as a freshman. Derek Whitmer was the first 2-year member of the Video Production Club's Executive Council. He's currently at Hofstra University as an elementary education and history major and is involved extracurricularly in 2 Hofstra television productions. And Megan Yoder is also a face we've seen a few times upstairs. As an excellent interviewer, Megan was a role model for younger aspiring journalists in the program. She's currently a broadcast journalism major at American University and works to help others solve their Final Cut editing problems. Can we please take a moment to recognize some of these nominees with us tonight? Finally, I want to recognize the accomplishments of Jordan Durham. Jordan came to our program late in his high school career, but he has made a huge impact. When I first met Jordan, I had a nickname for him that I used with Mr. Greer. I've never told him what it was. I used to call him Rico Suave, because whenever I saw him, he was talking with a different girl. In time, though, I learned that this was just part of his personality, as Jordan is a guy who's really easy to talk with. A story I like to tell about Jordan happened last year in Washington, D.C. Derek, Megan, and I were shooting a story at this bookstore across the street. It was cold outside, and we were trying to signal Jordan warming up at the Starbucks that was on the other side of the street. And there's Rico Suave talking with this strange girl in the Starbucks, trying to find some stories for us. That's when I knew this guy was going to be okay. Last spring, when he was enrolled at a state university he didn't seem happy with, on a random Wednesday in June, after graduation, I came into the editing lab, and there was Jordan, looking for some other programs, trying to find something that he considered a better fit for him, at Point Park in Pittsburgh. If I have the story correct, that was Wednesday. He was contacted by the dean on Thursday, and he had a scholarship on Friday. While at Point Park, Jordan has continued to assist my students, holding on-the-spot video contests on weekends with some of them. Jordan has continued to assist me as a teacher, sharing with me what he's learned from his film studies so that I can give my students the guidance to make better short films. Jordan even showed up at our national competition in Orlando this past March, providing our students with film equipment and support, all while serving as an intern for the Student Television Network, our first intern. He also was recently recognized from Point Park University as outstanding potential leader. So Jordan, can you please come up and be recognized? Jordan, my current students shared on their forums that they believe you pushed our program forward with innovative films that told great stories. They appreciate that you involved many students throughout all of our 6 classes, not just the upperclassmen, but you always involved freshmen as well. Even people not in our program would appear in these videos. They think you're a smart, driven, passionate professional, and you're very proactive at Point Park, and that you serve a good role model for our program. They look forward to seeing what you accomplish in your future, and I do as well. So Jordan, I present you with the award for the 3rd inductee into our Hall of Fame.